Hello and welcome back, everybody. In the last video, we went ahead and started making our socket connections. Let's see what we did. We created, these are the socket events that we have registered, and we've already created the search battle function where we send our JWT token, our character ID. We even tried to spoof the JWT token, and it didn't work because if we look in the index, remember, we use the JWT secret inside of our environment variables to verify it. We cast the type so we can access the ID, JWT payload, with the key string. We create the player queue object, so we created some types. We have the battle player, so once the queued player has found his opponent, we create the battle player with its username and its chosen character, and we create the battle. Now, we haven't actually started the battle. We are still going to have to make a start battle function or something like that. We also use this third-party Strapi to Typescript generator. So using its schema, it will give you access to the entire type of whatever you get back from the Strapi entity service. So Strapi entity service find one. Remember, how did I know that I have to use this notation? One, it's in the documentation, and two, just visit the routes, the controllers, the services, and you see its notation of how to find a character. Find one accepts an ID. We use a player character ID, and we what we did here, populate skills. We don't have the skills yet, and we specifically have to state that we would like to also populate the skills relation. Now, what do I mean by that? We're now going to have to create the skills, and you will understand why we did this. So let's go back to Strapi, and our character doesn't have the skills relation. How this is going to work is we're going to create skills and then relate a character to these skills, indicating that this character has many skills. So let's go to the content type builder real quick. As you can see, we already have the character and user, and all we have to do is create a new collection type. We call it skill, plural of skills, and we disable the draft and publish method. Hit continue. Now, as you can see, again, these are the properties that you can add to your content type. You can already guess that the character will have a relation that's pointing to this skill, and you will see that later. These are two very badass and overpowered properties, and we're going to add this later. But first, our skill needs a name. So we already know it's a text. It's going to be a very simple name. No advanced settings, we don't care about that. Add another field in the skill description. So what does the skill do? The description. The skill is going to have an image, which is image URL. Now, a skill also has a cooldown, which is a number. So cooldown. A mana cost, so also a number. Now, it will also need other certain variables, but I want to finish with this, head over to the code, struggle, and show you why we need new certain variables. So let me save this for now. Let's see, we already have Strapi running, otherwise this admin panel would not show up. It's restarting. There we go, file created. So as you can see, did you see that? It just created the skill with its content type, and now it also has to create the types. The server is restarting, so the third-party asset that we used, schema2ts, is going to pop up here with the types. Taking pretty long. The restart is taking longer than expected. The server should have restarted. Please check your logs in the terminal. It's probably because my computer went to sleep and I turned it on. It's taking way too long, so I might have to manually restart this. So let's Control-C, hit up, yarn develop, enter. Strapi develop, and it should pop up here soon. So you can see the controllers for the skill. So now this is the notation of API skill instead of API character. Starting a compilation for Typescript. There we go. So, simple. Skill, skill plane, skill in our relation, skill admin panel lifecycle. Now, let's go back to character. And now we're going to relate using our Postgres database, a relational database. We can relate things to each other. So if you go to character, add another field to this collection type, go to relation. Now let's see. Add a new relation field. I want to relate the skill. Now you see all these types of relations. So if you click on this, character has one skill. No, I know a character has many skills. So what is this? Character has and belongs to one skill. No, a character does not belong to a skill. A character can have many skills, and in this course, I want to be able to also have other characters use the same skill. So skill should also be shared. It's just not, there is no unique relation. So character belongs to many. No, not belongs. I need a has many. Skill has many characters. No, this is backwards. So characters has and belongs to many. No, I guess it's this. Character has many skills. Perfect. Is there any advanced settings? There's not a private. No, we don't care about that. That's it. Finish. Now hit save. Now it's going to restart. This time I restarted manually. It's supposed to be pretty fast. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now if we go to Content Manager, Character, and Big Cool Mechanic, you see Skill, Add Relation. We haven't made any skills yet. So first, let's make a skill. Now, as I said, these are going to be very generic skills. In our next course, we will be making the very advanced skills, but for now, actually, we're just going to make some simple stuff. So magic staff. And how did I come up with magic staff and this skill deals 15 magic damage? Well, I simply went to Midjourney and created these images, and I thought, oh, cool, this I can make a skill out of that. By the way, as you can see, this is supposed to be a, how did you call that? A big text field. So we can go, can I go edit the model? Oh, I can directly go to edit the model. We go to description, long text, finish, save. That's probably going to restart again. Let's wait for it to restart. Now let's go back to skill. Now it's a big text field. All right. Cooldown 3. Very simple. Mana cost 20. And now the image URL. I already have some skills. So again, I will provide these links. Let me check. This one will be my magic staff. It's kind of badass that Midjourney can do this. You just type in, hey, I want a magic staff for a game in the style of something, something, you get it. Wow, okay, so let's copy this and just paste it in the image. Hit save. Now, let's make, let's make one more skill. Actually, we're going to make 3 skills. This name will be... let me look at the image. Yeah, energy ball. Description. This energy ball deals 20 energy damage. Let me get the image URL again, and let me show you real quick. Don't worry. Again, I will be sharing these images in the below the video. Cooldown 5. Mana cost 50. Let's make it. Let's make one more skill. And we name this, poison knife. I'm going to call it a poison knife, but we're not going to make a poison mechanic because that's going to be a bit more damage over time type of thing. Poison knife. This knife will deal 5 poison damage every turn for 5 turns. Now, you can already see a mistake here. I am using magic numbers, so this knife will deal 5 poison damage every turn for 5 turns. You would rather have this be a field on its own, damage amount equals 5, and the fact that it's a damage over time damage over time skill. You would also store that in an enum, for example. And the skill duration, you would also store that in a separate field. But I intentionally have not done that yet because I will show you later how we're going to deal with that. And it will actually be in this video. I just want to show you the struggle first of not doing it so that I can later introduce it. So now we have 3 skills. Let's see, 3 skills. By the way, it's not ordered by ID. It's ordered by name, but I want to be ordered by ID. And if I remember correctly, you can go to configure view, default sort order, ascending default sort attribute ID. I also want to, let's see, created by mana cost. I want cooldown, ascending, save, enable bulk actions. Oh, that's cool. Skill. Now it's sorted by ID. Now it also shows mana cost and cooldown. I think I can also sort it by cooldown now. That's very nice. Now imagine you have thousands of entries. There are cool sorting mechanisms here. Let's go to character. I want my big cool mechanic to have all the skills. So add each skill to them, and you're done. Now I want my magic wizard to only have the magic staff, for example. Save. Now that's it. Let's see. So let's go back to the battle manager. Now remember, relations don't automatically populate when querying for an entity. So I've intentionally populated the skills too. So console log player 1, player 2. Actually, let's now console log this. So I don't need to make a new build because we haven't validated the fact that I can double click the search button. So let's just try this. Let's just use it as one character, as one player, I mean. And validating duplicate entries in the queue is very simple. Just check if the current socket is already existing in the queue loop array. Actually, that is wrong, because what if I log in with the same account on different devices, on different clients? I will have 2 separate sockets, but the same account name or ID. So you'd have to check by that name or ID. Start QP. There we go, log in. Big cool mechanic, search game, search game. So now it should trigger as if I'm starting a battle. So let's see. There we go. My character, big cool mechanic, has skills, object, object, object. Now, how can we do that? Let me see. I just wanna show my character's skills. So character dot skills. Now see, because I added skills as a relation, I can now, it has added skills, data, an array of skills. Or if you do character plane, skills plane. Control click, and again, it shows this. So that's nice. I already have access because of Typescript to the skills. So let's just do that. Hit save. Let's try it again. The server's restarting. Go back to Unity. I already have chosen ID 1, so search game, double click. Energy ball, magic staff, poison knife. Interesting. So ID 2 comes first, and ID 1 and poison knife. Is it because of how I ordered it in the backend? I want to test that actually. 2, 1, 3, right? So it's energy ball, magic, poison knife. Let's see. Energy ball, magic, poison knife. What happens if I do this? Reorder that. And then try it again. 1, 2, 3. Nice. So the order is represented even in your API response, in the entity service response. That's very nice. So now, when we start the battle, we are going to emit both objects, so we will already have these skills. Okay, that's very nice. What else do we need to take care of here? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but there is something interesting I noticed. So if you add a person to the queue, we push them, and then we when we come here in a second time, opponent Q shift, does this remove it from the queue? Removes the first element from an element, yeah, and we never push it. Okay. So I was thinking, hey, am I not supposed to remove from queue? But we don't need to do that because they're already the first player is already removed from queue, and you never actually entered the queue. You just started the battle. Again, in a complex matchmaking system, you have to take care of these things. So let's remove this log. A battle. So after we instantiate the battle object, of course, we're going to have to do something like start. So let's make that function, or I have to rather say method, start. Yeah, it's send the start event to both player clients. Now we have access to the player object in this class, and we have type battle player, and we have access to the socket. So basically, both players will have to, let's see, player one, wow, okay, yeah, this is kind of it, not really actually. So we have to emit the start battle event for both players. So let's just do it real quick. Socket emit start battle. But what do we do? So you have to think in perspectives. Well, depending on certain factors, a player starts on the left and the opponent starts on the right. You can determine yourself, like, hey, whoever has the higher experience starts. Well, no. I'm confusing it with Tekken. You are always left. Let's just assume that. So the player one socket, I'm gonna have to indicate it with left. The player one socket will be player one on the left. So right will be your opponent. But that also means, so the player 2 socket, he will see himself on the left. Perfect. So this is enough. Both objects contain enough information to populate the battle screen. Let's see. Start battle, which emits to both sockets, myself and then him. All right. Are we missing something? Yeah, well, let me reserve this real quick. Do turn. So, of course, when we start the battle, we're going to have to send our turns in. So I use a skill and I end my turn. It will trigger the do turn function. But let's not bother with that yet. Let's now populate our front end. So let's go back to Unity. And the start battle will have to trigger, let's see, start battle. Search battle. What else do we have? Game manager. We already know we're going to have to use open battle. Let's see if we've missed something here. No, socket manager. Socket as a search battle. Let's also we already know that we're going to be having a send turn too. Send turn. The socket will have to send a send turn object. Var turn object, new J object, socket emit. Wow. Well, yeah, actually, but so you can decide exactly how you're going to make your turn. So what's going to happen is, of course, we're going to have to send in our JWT token when we send our turn. But what is your turn info? So far, it's because it's a simple game. It's one character versus one character, and each character has 1 or 2 or 3 or more skills. As we click a skill, that skill will be used on the enemy. So we're gonna have to tell the server which skill we're using. Now, in my experience, it's better to send the skill slot that you clicked. So if you have 3 skills, you're going to be sending skill number 0, 1, or 2. I've seen instances of people sending the skill ID, but if I remember correctly, that's not really that secure, because I remember there was another developer that for some reason, when it sent the skill ID in the backend, it didn't even check if the ID, that skill with that ID, existed in the skill set of that character. So you could spoof and send a random skill that didn't exist in that battle of ID 55, and it would instantiate that skill and then cast that skill that you had no right to, and you could like cheat with that. So it's better to do things relative. So just sending the skill slot that you clicked, 0, 1, or 2, and maybe the enemy has a debuff on you that makes your skills for one turn turn into a I don't know, a toxic skill where you have to like use the card in order to get rid of that card. It's still skill slot number 0, 1, or 2. Then you send the skill slot number, and in the back end, it will have to see, hey, it will have to validate, like, hey, which skill is in my skill slot number 1 or skill slot number 2. So I already know we are going to be doing not a turn test, just skill slot. And we are going to be sending in our skill slot, because we don't have knowledge of the skill slot in our socket manager. We have to send it in somehow. Skill slot is going to be sending send turn, but we're not going to handle this yet. We haven't even made the battle screen yet. I'm trying to think how we can best do this, and let's just neatly make this more clearer. Let's make a new file, battle manager, because now we're going to have to do things with the battle manager.cs. Oh, of course, it's not generating. It's so public class battle manager mono behavior. Oh, mono behavior. Why is it? Wait, what if I do this? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Okay. I think it's one of those Unity snippets that we installed in VS Code. Ooh, okay, you're almost spoiling it, but let's not do that. So, ooh, that's a lot. No. First, public static battle manager instance. We're gonna have to make a public void awake. Actually, it's not even necessary to do public void awake. Do the instance. All right, we have that. I already know we're gonna have a public void start battle. Socket IO response. Socket IO client, right? Using socket. Yeah. Interesting. So, are you noticing something? It's not auto-completing this, while it does exist. So let's do this real quick. And the reason why this is happening is because I made the CS inside of VS Code. That's the problem that Unity has. So I think we're going to have to go back real quick. I think it's going to, let's close this. Compile. No, it's not doing anything. Why not? Socket, I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, now it works. Now if I do this, socket IO response, yes, it's of type response. We're going to have to handle the response. Resp. All right. Okay, sure. We can debug log that. Actually, not only that, I already know. Okay, first Control A, Control K, Control F if you have prettier. Now, I already know, like, okay, let's go back to our Udemy game. Open the battle. What do we see here? We see, actually, have I turned these into prefabs? I have not. Okay, we're going to do that in a minute. Now, what do we have here? We have the text indicating if it's our turn or not. My health bar and my mana bar. The enemy's health bar, enemy's mana bar, my character's face pick, the enemy's face pick, and the skills. So just like the character that we instantiated, we're also going to have to, let's see. separate the skill itself, because the skill will need a reference of the mana cost, the cooldown, the image, and the description, skill.cs. All right. Now let's turn these into prefab. So do we have everything here? We have the image. Let's put the skill script onto it. Description, mana cost, cooldown. That is all fine. Now let's make these fields too. So let's go back here. Oh no, let's go back to Unity. We have the skill, and we're gonna have to public string skill name, description exactly, int no public. Let's just say string mana cost, public string cooldown. What's interesting, we will also need it's going to be an integer remaining cooldown. So the cooldown is going to be its original cooldown. If I use the skill, it will go on 5-turn cooldown. But we're also going to need to indicate, show on the skill pick, what the remaining cooldown is. So a cooldown of 5, you use the skill, now you're triggered a cooldown of 5, and every turn it will deduct 1. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is this one, an integer. By the way, I messed up here. I'm going to need to change these in TextMesh Pro. What you can do to easily fix this in VS Code, double-click, press Control-D, 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 and now you can just TMP text. Boom. That's a multi-cursor thingy. Very nice. Not only that, actually, public image. This is the problem. Last time I pressed tab on this, and it's opening for some reason this nonsense. Just go down once and then hit tab. And yeah, I guess you can call it skill pick. Save that. What else do we have here? Now, we also saw we're going to have to public image, again, go one down, hit tab, player 1 character, the image of the character itself, then the player 2 character, perfect. And now I need the health. Are you going to do that? Are you going to do that? The health is just an image. No. Public image P1 health, P2 health, come on, okay, you can do it. Now mana, come on, mana, perfect. Mana 2. TMP text, the turn state. So if it's my turn or the enemy turn. Also, we're going to have to instantiate, yeah, exactly, the skill prefab and its parent. So yeah, the skill container, that's nice. Hit save. Now let's make all of this. Well, let's drag and drop everything we need. So I think my skill already has it. All right, so skill name. Ooh, we haven't made a skill name yet. Let's make it real quick. Actually, description, Control-D. Let's go here. The actual description, I want to go make it go down. Ooh, what's going on here? Let's put it down a little bit. Press T to make it a bit shorter. Now the name, which will be skill name, let's make it red. All right. Let's click on skill. Skill name is going to be this. Description will be this. Mana cost will be that. Cooldown will be that. The image will be the skill itself. And remaining cooldown stays 0 for now. Let's hit save before Unity crashes on us. The battle manager. Let's make a new object for that. Battle manager. Battle man. Oh. Battle manager. Now the P1 character, so the health. Actually, no, I mean the image. So character left, character right, health left. All right. So character left, character right, health left, health right, mana left, And all right. Turn state, I assume is this. That is this. Actually, I'm not even going to bother with a turn state yet. Skill prefab. So yeah, now remove these two skills. We're going to drag and drop this to create it, turn it into a prefab. Now the battle manager will need to know of the skill prefab and its container. Let's remove this skill from here. And its skills container. Hit save. All right, that looks great. I think that's it. So we are handling. So the start battle. Go back to socket manager, and we're going to need to handle this. Socket on. Socket on. Now, so there are two ways of doing this. Well, no, I mean from front end to back end, and from back end to front end. You have to understand that. Let me do this real quick. You emit an event from either front end to back end or back end to front end. And the receiver will have to register it by doing an on. We've done this in the back end already. So do this. On search battle, do all of this. Add to queue, we go to the add to queue, recreate a new battle, and we emit back an event. So far, here we've done an emit from front end to back end. Now we're going to have to register an on. So where do we do that? We are going to do that here. After, actually before we connect, we have to register the on event. So socket.capital on. And it's, wow, I even know start battle. Response. Actually, let me check something. We have start battle. Is it with a capital B? What do we do here? Okay, it's all lowercase. That is fine. Let me save this real quick. Now, let's, debug log response, and then battle manager instance start battle. Let's do this so we can see what we're doing. So battle manager start battle with its response. It's the same response type. Then we're debug logging it again. Do not forget, the start battle will also need to switch the canvases. So the way we do that was, if I remember correctly, game manager instance, open battle screen. Yes, open battle screen. Boom. Now, something very interesting is going to happen. This is not going to work. And what I mean is this interaction of socket on and then running the code after socket on. And I'll explain why, and it took me an entire day to fix that, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So it's pretty funny. Actually, let's debug log. We're debug logging start battle and response. So, oh man, this was so frustrating to deal with. I found a guy on Google, on Reddit, that also had the exact same problem, and he said, "Bro, I've tried everything. People were helping him." And like he said, "What do you mean? I've already done this. I've restarted this. I've uninstalled this. I have done that. Everything is assigned. There is no null. I'm debug logging everything. It's just not trying to actually work. And all the code after stops." Now, you'll see what I mean. So let's just save this. It took me a full day to fix it. And the only way to fix that, I had to buy a ChatGPT subscription, and ChatGPT finally helped me with debugging it, and we finally figured it out together, and you'll see what I mean. Actually, first let me build and run this. No. Wait. Hit cancel. Oh no, the cancel is going to take very long. Oh, okay, that was nice. So why I canceled it, I have to change the setting. The setting is, I think if we go to project settings, other settings, where is the resolution? Full screen window, please. Default screen width. I mean, I can just half this. I don't want to take it up my entire screen. Now we can build and run. So while it's building, it is emitting these two things. What's funny is there's also something's going to go wrong here, and I'll show you two things in a couple minutes that's going to go wrong and how to fix them. All right, this is nice. Let's go the legend 27. Password login. Let's take the Mage Wizard and search game. And here we are going to choose the big cool mechanic. Log in, big cool mechanic, search game. Boom, the server crashed. What happened here? Let's see. Maximum call stack size exceeded. Has binary. CJS is binary. Function has binary. Socket IO is binary. Maximum call stack size exceeded. So this is a different problem as from what I was talking about a couple minutes ago. This also took me some time to figure out. Now, what happened here? Just read the error. So range error, maximum call stack size exceeded. Usually, what this means is a recursion happened, an infinite recursion. So I was trying to figure out, like, what the heck is happening here? What's the recursion? I started debug logging it, and I figured out it's somewhere here. Now, I didn't know exactly why or what, but I was testing things out, and I figured it out. So what this means is somehow your object is referencing itself. If it's referencing itself, it's a recursive loop. It's a recursive loop of it keeping referencing itself until the maximum call stack size exceeds. And how does that even happen? So this.player, player one, what information do we have? It's the battle player, right? But the battle player only has an ID, a username, socket, and character. The character does not contain our information. The character only has its character information, big cool mechanic, health, mana, and its skills. But the socket. Now, the socket is what's happening here is player one .socket emits start battle, which includes player one, which also has its own socket. Now, I think that's the recursive loop. The player one socket, player one, which also has a socket. I don't think it's emitting another event. It's just that when it tries to serialize its object, it goes from player one, it serializes socket, and then somehow that socket references the player one. That was very confusing. But anyway, I do not exactly understand how the socket works. It does not hold itself, as far as I know. It does not hold the character. We have never done something with the socket itself. So there was some recursive loop happening with the player and the socket. So what that means is, at this point, the player one needs to have the socket information removed. So you could see, if we go back, all the way back, when we console log the player one, it also showed all of this, all the socket information. We do not want to expose the socket information to the front-end client. We want to hide as much as we can. We're not going to even use that. So we're going to have to remove the socket right before sending. Now, something interesting is I figured out that JSON stringify, before sending it, of course, stringifies a JSON, but it also has this second parameter. If you go to stringify, let's see, value, usually an object or array to be converted, a function that transforms the results. So you can, it acts as a middleware. You can actually create a function, so an empty function for now, that does things, and you can make it do everything you want. And I want to make it remove the player one property socket. Now, usually in cases like this, let me collapse everything here because this is driving me crazy. Let's go to backend, my scripts, and I'm going to have to make a blacklist. In here, I'll define everything that I don't want to send along with the JSON stringify. I'm going to use this and share this. Let's see, blacklist TS. it's something I will be able to share. I'm going to have to do it in all 4 places. Now, let's say you also have other data in player 1 that you don't want to send. You can just specify that in the blacklist. So, blacklist, it says a function that transforms the results, right? So a function, it's going to be a function. So I already know we're going to export it. Const blacklist equals a function that returns something, okay? Now, from the signature, I already know, let's see. JSON stringify value is of type any, and the replacer has a this of type any and a key of type string and a value of any. This is default. With this means it's function binding. So you can bind the function to the object it's being called on. This is by default. All we have to specify are the key and the value. So remember, key value storage. So basically, you send in the key, which is socket, and the value, we make that null or undefined. So it will work like this. The key was of type any, right? Key, well, it's going to be a string in this case. Value is of type any. And the way it works is if my key is of type attributes no, of type socket, then we return undefined. So basically, we're emptying the socket property of player 1 before sending it, and we return the value. Boom. Now, let's specify that reducer function here, blacklist, and there we go. Now we're going to have to just copy paste this everywhere. Copy paste, player 2, and we can do the exact same thing here. Player 1, yeah, player 2. Hit save, yarn develop. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Let it run real quick. Reconnecting. Oh, it's reconnecting. It's attempting to reconnect. We can see once it reconnects back, unconnected. There we go. So, search game. Search game. No way. Did you see that? My game just crashed. It's typical Unity. Long-term support version. Oh man. Yeah, maybe you should spend more time on developing your engine instead of paying your CEOs. Let's see. Now, as you can see, it's debug logging. Let's see. How do we do this? So, start battle. We debug logged start battle. We debug log the response. Then we trigger battle manager instance start battle with a response. Excuse me. Which triggers the start battle debug log. And then nothing happens. But I have specified I wanted to trigger the open battle screen function. Now, we haven't done anything weird, right? It even didn't debug log the response afterwards. It's almost as if the code literally just stopped working right after this debug log. Let's see, open battle screen. We've used open select screen and open auth screen. Well, we haven't used open auth screen, but it will work. We have one reference, open select screen, and after we log in, open select screen works. Now, open battle screen for some reason doesn't work. It took me an entire day to debug this, what the problem was. I was thinking, wait, if I set it to false beforehand, I cannot set it active to true later? But no, that's not the case, because the script is not living in that object. It's not as if the script is closed. I tested so much. I debug logged so much. Oh, it was horrible. And then I was like, you know what? Even Google and Reddit isn't helping me. I had to ChatGPT this. I paid a subscription for ChatGPT and asked it, hey, dude, look, this is what's going on, and I've tried everything. And he gave me this final solution. Now, what is happening is... Now, yeah, okay, so let me explain this first. The code here is correct. Don't worry about that. It is supposed to open the battle screen. If I run this script anywhere other If I swap these around in the game manager, it will open the battle screen. Now, what happens here is we're using the way that this socket IO thingy, socket IO Unity is coded, is it is running on a second thread. From this second thread, this network response, we are immediately trying to do something that is supposed to run on the main thread. So this is a multi-threading issue, and I had never seen something like this before. All the Unity operations, so the Unity UI, the physics, all happen on the main thread. But the networking happens on a second thread. And the second thread has no knowledge of the operations the main thread has to do. I suck at explaining this because even I don't fully understand this, but what we're going to have to do is we are first going to have to store the things it has to do. We're going to wait until the second thread stops processing and it jumps over back to the main thread and let this operation run on the main thread. I know this sounds crazy. I never had this problem with a socket IO solution that I bought from the Unity Asset Store, but apparently there's a problem, and we're going to fix that. So first, these actions, we're going to have to store them, lock them, and then use them later on in the main thread. So I already know this is not something I came up with. This is a ChatGPT thing. We're going to have to store a queue of actions. Execute on main thread queue, which is new queue action. Does this work? System action delegate void. Generic queue, So it's a queue of actions. By the way, a queue is basically a collection. Collection is generic. Just like a list or array, except it has special methods, like push and pop, I think. No, not push. What's it called? It behaves like a stack, first in, first out, first in, last out, I'm not sure. But it's a fancy name for a list, a collection. Now, we will have to store this first inside of it. So we're going to have to enqueue this. We're storing it in a queue, first in, first out. So execute on main thread queue, unqueue. Then, oh my god, yeah, I think this is it. So that's perfect. We enqueue this. And we also have to lock it first for some reason. I'm not sure what that means, but we got to do this. So we'll do this real quick. And you're going to have to read up on this. This is some advanced theory on .NET, C#. I think that's it, right? No. Now, after it's done, we're going to have to use our update. Where's our update? Let's put it here under. While execute on main thread count. So while we have something, we're going to have to dequeue it and then invoke whatever we dequeued. Now, I think that should be enough. Let's go back to Unity. Let's wait for it to reload and then restart it. Now, actually, we're going to have to build and run this real quick so we can play against ourselves. The Legend 27. Search game, now we log in. Maybe that's the reason it crashed. We didn't make the multi-threading mechanism. Search game. There we go, it worked. What happened here? Okay, it worked here too. Now we haven't made the, how do you call it? The mechanic, the function of populating the skills in the skill roster. So that's why we don't see it, but so far so good. It properly used the multi-threading approach to swap after getting a socket response back. Now all we're going to need to do is populate the battle screen, and populate the battle screen, which with its health, mana, face picks, and the skills. And I think the video is long enough. Let's rest for a bit, and I'll see you in the next video.